What's up, Sunday fam? Welcome to another episode of Watching Sundays. If you're new to us, I'm Element. I'm a huge geek and a huge nerd, and this is Flip. He is a filthy casual. And all of our episodes are centered around me trying to convince him to just give things another chance.
Yes, Element is completely correct on that factor. I really enjoy TV shows and movies just on the surface. The entertainment factor is they have good pace, good storytelling, all of those things. And that is about it.
Yeah, so this episode we're going to dive into the top 7 moments of Orville. The season is over and we can't wait for the next season. So what we're going to do is just list our top moments of this season.
Yeah, obviously, it's a long wait. I feel like there's a hole in our schedule right now, especially mine, where every Thursday I was looking forward to an episode, but now it's just kind of like, I don't know. So let's just get to it.
Yep.
Top 7 moments.
Let's go.
Right off the top, number 7, I am 16 going on 17. This is the first time the Orville really touched my heart, and
This was the second chance that you gave it.
yeah, and it actually made me a fan of the show. And so it was the Sound of Music that brought memories to my childhood growing up in the Philippines, watching Sound of Music on a Betamax. So that was a long time ago.
Karaoke is also pretty huge for Filipinos.
Yeah, exactly. There was a special place in my heart for musicals, The Sound of Music, Phantom of the Opera, Newsies. So this episode really did it for me for the Orville.
Number 6, Word of Kelly. This episode was really intriguing. We dealt with a lot of time and space, science. We had this hyperbolic time chamber effect where time was faster on one side than it was on our side, and we got to see the adverse effects that Kelly had when it came to violating the Prime Directive, or in this show, the non-contamination rule.
Yeah, and that is like this topical conversation about religion and how it can affect lots of wars, lots of things that could happen along the way. Very
Just
political,
the growth of a civilization.
very, very topical type of episode that we didn't really get a chance to explore more.
Yeah, and number 5, Biodome, continuing from Word of Kelly. This was the exact opposite. This was the juxtaposition of that episode, where a civilization is sort of adrift in space, being left alone to their devices, and all they're doing is just worshiping this one creator. It showed us what it was like for a society that was left alone to their own devices with their belief in a mythology or religion, and finally when they come into contact with them, their lives change for the better, I would assume.
Yeah, I love this episode because it was the first episode that they introduced a star quality actor. Liam Neeson was in this episode, and so all that stuff, all the effects that it took place in this episode really kind of opened my eyes in terms of what type of show the Orville was becoming. Number 4, Space Vampires. I love this episode. All the awkward moments, the nuance of humor was amazing. There wasn't a boring moment in this entire episode.
I think throughout the entire season, this remained your favorite episode for a while.
It's been at the top, but this is our top 7, so we have to kind of compromise. This
I
lands,
liked it too.
Yeah, this lands at number 4. Gordon and Ed, the humor that they brought onto the episode with the Krill. Yeah, this show really parodies a lot of things from the Star Trek universe. The Krill is very much like the Klingons from that world, you know, where they kind of impose their superiority over everyone else. And it was a really great episode for me.
Number 3, Dr. Finn and Isaac's family picnic. This episode showed us a lot of how Isaac could learn in human behavior. He was originally placed on the Orville to learn human behavior for the Kaelon, and he had a lot to learn as, you know, the guardian for Dr. Finn's kids, as well as being a father figure. And, you know, it made him shine with his programming and his emotionless character. It actually had some positive effects on the kids, and then of course we got to see him kind of, you know, shoot out and be a badass at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, what I loved about this episode is, you know, the human side of a android, I guess. Whatever their race is.
Or the closest thing to a human.
The closest thing to a human without attempting to be human. He just became human in this episode. And I thought there was some really funny fatherly advice, whether he intended it to be a soft blow to the kids.
It's funny how that works out, you know, some of the things he said just out of objectivity, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you tell them to just stop? You know, so number 2, Bortus and Clyden's daughter. This episode was actually really, really impactful for me. It was a huge allegory of contemporary society when it comes to, having a gay child or having a transgender child. And it really hit home because a lot of this stuff is affecting families across America today. And they really closed it out effectively when we find out that the progressive ideal in this episode actually loses. You don't get to see Bortus's ideals recognized or his wishes. You get to see the conservative ideal win through. And I thought, watching this episode, I thought, yeah, his daughter is going to be able to live a life that she wants, but that was decided for her and taken away from her.
Yeah, I love this episode because it felt like it had the most relevance to the culture or the times that we're living in today. The political climate that we live in today, the progressiveness of how we like to think about our culture, it almost kind of went up in smoke in this episode, and there was a lot of parallels with what we're dealing with today.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get to the coup de grace of this list, let's just take a moment to give a shout out to all of the honorable mentions, including this one, Bortus's "You Will Be Silent."
Lieutenant Malloy taught me this song. I will now sing it. Oh! You will be silent!
Hammer, where are you, fella? Ah, dude, it stinks down here. What the hell you been eating? What is that, is that a boot?
And post a guard on these quarters.
Aye, sir.
And number one, Alara Katan kicks ass as Ripley. This episode, Firestorm, was just incredible.
This whole episode was amazing, and I agree with you. This was probably the best episode in the entire season. Alara goes Ripley style, goes badass. She goes up against her greatest fears, a really creepy clown, a really engaging spider that ate Gordon, and
that was one of the funny moments too.
That was hilarious.
The stunt double.
The stunt double
with the orange
was
hair.
amazing. That was a great moment. And and the holodeck thing was just like incredible. How that whole episode was set up to showcase her abilities.
Yeah, Halston Sage. I've been a fan of hers since Paper Towns, and I was actually pretty excited when they announced that she was going to be in this show. But I didn't expect to like her character so much, and she is my favorite character on the Orville. And I loved how she was able to overcome her fears and finally prove that she belonged on the Orville. And a lot of the things that she did, her fight choreography and dealing with all of these things that were throwing at her, just came out really well. And it was definitely the best moment in the season for me.
Yeah, I mean, beauty, intelligence, strength. What more can you ask for? Halston Sage is truly talented.
Yes, she is. All right, so that does it for our list of the top 7 moments of Orville Season 1. And of course, we have to deal with this guy.
Yes! The Kelly meter. The entire season, I have had problems with dealing with her character because she just seemed like this really apologetic character or person that's always like trying to win Ed's favor. But towards the end of the season, she did enough to kind of pull that meter back just because it showed that she has true character, true value as a first officer, becoming a little bit more of a badass towards the last 2 episodes of the season. And so normally I would give her a 5 out of 5 on the Kelly meter scale, but I think I'm going to drop her down to a 3 because I have high hopes for her in season 2 to be more of a badass.
You're going to drop it down to a 3 because you have high hopes for her?
Yes.
That makes sense. All right, guys, that'll do it for this episode of Watching Sundays. And there you go. That's our top 7 moments of Orville Season 1. If you're new to us, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos from us. The next episode will probably be about Bright, the new movie that came out on Netflix.
I have not seen it yet, but you have, and I can't wait.
Yeah, so look out for that, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.